Greetings, my name is Misti Stanton. I am the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer for Mercantile Bank. I am also a member of the Community Relations Commission with the City of Grand Rapids and the chair of the Rosa Park Essay Contest.
And I'm Shannon L. Harris, Executive Director of Our Community's Children, which is a public-private partnership between the City of Grand Rapids Public Schools, and community partners. And I'm also part of the Rosa Parks Essay Contest Committee.
Today we will take you on a symbolic bus tour to commemorate Rosa Parks. Although she did not seek to be a hero, her heroic actions helped this nation fight racism and hate and created the pathway to healing.
So come along with us as we honor her legacy by exploring parts of downtown Grand Rapids and highlighting local notables who played a role in providing civil liberties for all of us.
Grand Rapids is the second largest city in Michigan, and it was incorporated in 1850. History books tell us the city's founding fathers, landowners, were Louis Campaw and Lucius Lyon, and that the first mayor was a man named Henry R. Williams. What is also very true is that the indigenous people of this land were here before the first Caucasian settlers. The indigenous people were known to be of the Hopewell culture and later members of the Ottawa, Potawatomi, and Ojibwe tribes. The Ottawa tribe lived in the Grand River Valley area, and they established two communities on the western banks of the Grand River and what is now Grand Rapids. We unfortunately know how the story goes. Their land was eventually taken by the United States government. And as we give reverence to the sacrifices of all those before, during, and after the civil rights movement in Grand Rapids and across the country, we want to also acknowledge the indigenous people of this area and, quite frankly, the African slaves who helped build America.
As we look around at what downtown Grand Rapids looks like today, I cannot help but to think about the African Americans that worked in the downtown area in the early to mid 1900s as laborers, as domestics. Would they be proud of our progress today? Would they be surprised? Something to think about. There are so many local notables that advanced civil rights, made an impact, and have a presence in the downtown area. One such person is Helen Claytor. Mrs. Claytor's statue stands proudly on the campus of GRCC. Although Mrs. Claytor was not born in Grand Rapids, she moved here in 1943. She was the first African American woman elected as the president of the Grand Rapids YWCA and the first African American woman to serve as president of the national chapter. She fought tirelessly to empower women and to end racism. While in Grand Rapids, she was appointed by Mayor Vogel to serve on a committee to study racism. And as a result, she helped create the Human Relations Committee, which evolved into the former City Department of Equal Opportunities. She was also a long-standing member of St. Philip's Episcopal Church, the first African-American church in the diocese from the Indiana border to the Mackinac Bridge. And there's Paul Collins. Mr. Collins is known as a realist artist who has brilliantly captured the beauty of so many cultures. He was also the first African-American to paint a portrait of an American president. His artwork can be seen in many places downtown, including the Gerald R. Ford Presidential Museum, the Grand Rapids Public Museum, and the Amway Grand Plaza Hotel, among other places.
And now we're across the street from the Amway Grand Plaza Hotel. Imagine it's Thursday, December 1st, 1955, and we're in Montgomery, Alabama. There's a seamstress, and it's the end of her workday. She catches the bus at the intersection of Dexter Avenue and Montgomery Street. She takes a seat in the section marked "Reserved for Whites Only." I, of course, am referring to Mrs. Rosa Parks, and she was arrested for that act of civil disobedience. Seems hard to believe that this act of civil disobedience led to the Montgomery bus boycott 4 days later. And for over a year, African Americans refused to ride a segregated bus and protested relentlessly against discriminatory policies. The boycott eventually led to the integration of the Montgomery public transportation system in Montgomery, Alabama.
And Misty, most people think that Rosa Parks was elderly when she sat on that bus in 1955. Can you believe she was only 42 years old?
And get this, it was like any other work day. She was just tired of being tired.
Tired of being tired.
Tired of being tired. In 2007, the Grand Rapids Community Relations Commission authorized the establishment of the Rosa Parks Sculpture Committee, which spearheaded the planning and fundraising process to ensure that Grand Rapids had a physical representation of Miss Rosa Parks' legacy. Ed Dwight, a Denver artist who is African American, was hired to design and create the statue. Mr. Dwight had created many sculptures of civil rights heroes, including sculptures dedicated to the Underground Railroad, installed at the Kellogg Foundation in Battle Creek and at Detroit's Hart Plaza. Mr. Dwight said this: "I have her standing on a granite pedestal in front of a fragmented cast bronze bust seat, representing a turning point in history that she has placed behind her." The Rosa Parks sculpture is right outside of the Rosa Parks Circle. In 1999, it was redesigned by Maya Lin, an Asian American designer and architect. Miss Lin also designed the Vietnam Veterans Memorial in Washington, D.C., while she was a college student at Yale University. Amazing. This park is special not only because it is a gathering space for multicultural events throughout the year, but also because of its name, Rosa Parks Circle. If you can believe it, there were people who thought this park shouldn't be named after someone who wasn't a Grand Rapidian. Although Rosa Parks did not live in Grand Rapids, she was a resident of the state of Michigan for 60 years. In 2001, after much deliberation, the City Commission approved the name of this park, Rosa Parks Circle.
Our last stop is the Lyman S. Parks Senior statue. Right in front of City Hall is the statue that honors our first and thus far only African American mayor of the city of Grand Rapids. Reverend Parks was the pastor of the First Community AME Church and a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Incorporated fraternity, the first and only African American fraternity to be founded on an Ivy League campus.
Prior to becoming mayor of the city, Parks became the city's first African American commissioner when he was elected in 1967.
And this statue was unveiled in July of 2013. It is one of several commissioned by Peter Secchia as part of his Grand Rapids Community Legends project.
He represented the 3rd Ward. After he served as city commissioner, his colleagues on the commission appointed him mayor when Mayor Bolins resigned. In 1972, Mayor Parks was elected by the people to serve a 4-year term. Plans for the downtown pedestrian mall and new music hall were developed during his tenure.
The Reverend Mayor Parks' granddaughter, former city clerk and member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, said, "The statue will be a reminder to our young people about what he did for our community and that one person can make a difference. I hope others will be inspired." Are you inspired?
I'm certainly inspired.
I'm inspired too. And this is just a reminder of the struggles that happened in the past, that are happening even today, and the work that we need to do moving forward.
Correct. We just want to take this time to thank you all for joining us on this Rosa Park bus tour.
And we want to thank everyone involved in the Rosa Parks Essay Contest, especially the young people.